A girl sees an attractive country boy, stops to look at him from afar while trying to hide, but he catches her looking. Overcome with embarrassment, she runs away from him. The story begins with a single girl named Dani, who lives with her sisters and grandmother on a small farm. Her younger sister is obsessed with all the dating shows and wishes someone would propose to her that way. Dani jokes with her, saying, "Do you really believe this stuff? We all know these shows are all acting and fake, just for views." However, her grandmother interrupts, telling her she got a letter from France. When Dani opens it, she is surprised to find out she has been accepted into an art college. Her sisters can't believe their failure of a sister is going to study in France. But of course, she is shocked when she finishes reading the letter and learns that they denied her scholarship. If she wants to continue and study, it will be at her own expense. She will need $30,000 for the 4 years. Naturally, she looks very upset. A little later, her sister goes to her, telling her she will help her and that they will pool their savings together so she can travel and finish the 4 years to the end. It is then shown that Dani works as a waitress in a restaurant, and it appears her ex-boyfriend is sitting there waiting for her, desperately wanting her back by any means. But Dani tells him she isn't interested and has completely dropped the idea. Suddenly, her younger sister walks in and says she thought about it carefully and figured out how they will get the plane ticket. Even the accommodation money will be covered. She explains her idea. Dani will participate in a dating show, which is supposed to be in Paris anyway. She can participate, get paid per episode, and as soon as she leaves, she will already have the money for college, housing, and everything. She reminds her that participation alone pays $20,000, which is enough to last her in Paris until she finishes. Her sister starts getting her ready and tells her the names of previous participants in dating shows. Dani seems completely clueless because she has no interest in shows, television, or any of that. However, Dani agrees, saying she is ready to do anything, as long as she travels and finishes her studies. A few days later, she gets ready and goes to participate, but is surprised to find that the other girls in the show are former beauty queens, and one is even a hairdresser. In short, girls with a completely different style than hers. Still, she tries her luck and continues with the application. From the moment she starts talking, it's obvious she knows nothing about this world. Even Claire, the producer interviewing her, looks at her notes and tells her it's clear she isn't into this kind of stuff, and asks why she is participating, suggesting it's just for the money. Despite this, it seems Claire really likes her and wants her on the show. However, the director of photography tells her that a girl like this will make their ratings drop, and it's definitely not going to work. That night, Dani goes out with her sister to a local spot. Dani notices someone staring at her from afar. Showing herself to be a very bold girl, she walks over to talk to him, asking why he has been staring at her for so long, and noting he doesn't look like he is from around there. He asks how she knew, and she explains that it's very obvious from his style, his boots, and his hat that he's a rich guy and not a local. She tells him that if he lived in the same place, they surely would have gone to school together, adding that in the country everyone knows everyone very well, and she could even name them one by one. At that moment, he asks to dance with her. She tells him she is leaving the country tomorrow to travel and pursue her dream. Suddenly, while talking to him, she sees someone bothering her sister. She goes over, hits him, and demands he apologize to her right now, or she will pour her drink on him. Trey watches her, clearly impressed, but she doesn't give him any opening. The next day, while she is working as a blacksmith at her house, she receives a call from the show and is surprised to find out they accepted her. She decides to quickly get ready and rushes to catch her flight heading to Paris. Claire, meanwhile, sees Dani as a strong competitor who will make it to the final rounds, even though Dani isn't interested in any of that. She is just going to participate in a few episodes, take the money she and her sister agreed upon, and leave. She sits with her fellow contestants, completely unaware that the show isn't actually in Paris, France. It is another area called Paris in the state of Texas. As soon as the girls get off the plane, they are shocked to find themselves in Texas. Dani becomes furious. She goes to Claire and says she wants her things because she is leaving right now, asking if they are joking since she lives exactly half an hour from here and could be home in no time. But they tell her she signed a contract with them, not to mention she will lose the $20,000 participation fee, and ask if she wants to continue with them or not. Naturally, she is forced to continue. They take them all to a country farm, where Claire explains that the new season of the show will be here in Texas, and they must wear farmer clothes the whole time because the guy they will be competing for is actually the owner of this farm. Dani clearly looks unhappy because this is her actual everyday life. She decides to change her clothes and go for a walk around the place. Just as she's about to enter the barn, she runs into Trey, the guy she met at the cafe. He asks if it's possible she is really participating in the show. She replies yes, but honestly, she really wanted to travel to France, not Texas. Before she can finish talking to him, they call for her, and she quickly leaves. She goes to talk to Claire, again showing how bold she is, and confesses that she didn't join the competition to find a husband. She only participated because she wanted to travel to Paris and get the $20,000. But Claire tells her to hide this and not tell anyone, warning her that this is a scam and she could be sued. Suddenly, all the girls participating in the show are gathered, and they begin introducing the bachelor that these 30 girls are supposed to fight over until he chooses one of them. Trey starts talking to them, saying his farm might not be in France as they wished, but to him, the farm here is exactly like Paris. Dani clearly looks unhappy, finding all of this utterly ridiculous. She thinks competing with 20 other girls over one guy is foolish, and she doesn't want to do it, but she is obviously forced to participate. It's clear all the girls are very smitten with him, and each one is planning how to go talk to him for a bit. Dani, however, is sitting down, eating chicken wings, completely unbothered. In fact, everything happening in front of her seems like nonsense to her. It'll be over in a few days anyway. But they pressure her to go greet him like the rest of the contestants. It then becomes obvious they know each other. At this moment, the director goes to them and asks if they knew each other before, stating that Dani can't participate because it's too obvious there are feelings between them. But Dani mocks the idea, asking what feelings he is talking about since she only saw him for 5 minutes in a cafe and doesn't even know him. She adds that she isn't thinking about marriage and was traveling to France to start her life there and get involved with a handsome French guy. Trey is annoyed by her and asks what is wrong with an American, noting that all her colleagues on the show are dying for one. Her castmates then talk about Trey, each girl believing she's the one who will make him fall in love with her. When Dani talks about him on camera, she bluntly states that Trey is the last person she would ever think about. But the strange thing is, during the eliminations, Trey chooses her out of the 8 remaining girls. Dani is very upset and asks him why he didn't eliminate her, complaining that she wanted to go home today and calling him annoying. He teases her back, saying that since she doesn't praise the French, just to spite her, she's going to stay with him until the very end of the competition, challenging her to see how she travels then. She complains about him with her roommate, saying she is going to treat him terribly until she drives him away and forces him to reject her. The next day, as soon as she sees him, she asks him a favor, demanding he eliminate her next time because she wants to go home. But Trey teases her, saying no, she is staying with him until the end of the competition as he told her, and there is no way he will let her go to France. She ties him up with a rope and threatens to make him agree by force. Her roommate, however, tells her she should look at this differently. She reminds Dani that for every date she wins, she gets an extra $20,000, which will increase her college funds, and wonders why she is so upset. Dani realizes she is right and decides to change her mindset, figuring the show will bring her fame and then end, so she might as well stay. But it becomes clear she is starting to like him. At night, when she finds out he is hanging out in the pool with Alexei having a good time, she looks very jealous and spies on them. She ends up looking foolish when she slips and falls into the pool with them, making a complete fool of herself. Her rival, Alexei, sneaks into Dani's room behind her back and decides to steal her bag, determined to find out what she's hiding. The surprise for Dani that night is that he chooses Alexei and eliminates Dani from the group. She is shocked because she had also started to like him, and she asks him what happened. He tells her she has been saying for a while that she wants to leave, so he eliminated her so she can go. Because she truly fell in love with him, when she returns home, she doesn't understand why he treated her that way. However, she decides to forget about the guy she met at the cafe, travel, go to her university, and achieve her dreams. A few weeks pass, and Claire comes to visit her. She tells her the truth, admitting she actually bet on Dani making it to the final episode of the show. She explains that Trey eliminated her because Alexei told him about her college plan. Dani then understands that this is why he kicked her off the show, because he felt she was using him. Claire advises her to return with her and explain her side of the story, especially since Claire found out Dani had been sketching him. After thinking it over a bit, Dani decides to go, and she even forfeits the money she earned when she left. This is because the rules state that if any eliminated contestant wants to return to the show, they can, but on one condition: they must return all the money they earned. Of course, this is the biggest proof that she still loves him. That night, when she sees him, she goes to talk to him and starts apologizing for everything she did. But Trey is shocked to see her and asks why she came back. He accuses her of pretending to like him just so she could travel to France and study there, asking if she is still dreaming of an even bigger sum of money. At that moment, Claire steps in and tells him that Dani gave up all the money she earned just to come back. Trey is stunned and realizes she must love him, as no woman would do that unless the person truly mattered to her. He decides to go after her and tells her to wait, admitting he didn't know she returned all the money. Dani then tells him she gave up on the university because he became her closest dream. But Trey tells her he will stay with her and make sure she continues her university studies as well. At that moment, he presents her with two choices: taking $250,000 or the wedding ring. She decides to refuse the wedding ring and takes the $250,000, exactly as they had agreed, because Trey tells her at that moment that the money is important, while they can easily get another ring later. In doing so, Dani wins both: a groom who puts her best interests first and cares about her achieving her dreams. Plus, she gets a large sum of money she never dreamed of. This is the end of the film.